Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead of them and their companies. I'm your host, Olivia Sammons, and in each episode we'll uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, I'm very excited to be joined by Nicole Gomez, a nervous system coach who helps people reconnect with their inner authority, move past self-doubt, and create success that feels grounded, authentic, and sustainable. Nicole's work supports individuals who are tired of overthinking, people-pleasing, and second-guessing themselves, and are ready to trust their voice, their inner intention, and their direction. Nicole, welcome to Founders Future. Thank you so much for joining me here today.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Happy to have you. It's such a pleasure. And I'm very much excited to dive in and learn more about your journey. So, Nicole, with all of my guests, I do like to start at the beginning. So if you don't mind taking me back to what it was you was doing before you jumped into the coaching space, and then from there, what was the motivation behind it?
Yeah, of course. Well, I think the gold dust is really how it came into fruition, and it really came down to, well, in my past life, I would say, I was in investment banking. I was essentially really leading a life that I was very successful at it. I was very good at it. I'm someone who's very scientific, analytical. I'm fierce in business as well, which is what has driven driven me in the coaching business. But ultimately, I was really living a life that wasn't mine. I was essentially what we call dissociated. Dissociated simply means when we're really disconnected from the body. It's where we're in this place of, a lot of people may call it autopilot or numb, right? And you are essentially living, going through the motions and being guided by certain desires, perhaps, or wants or goals in life that perhaps don't truly align with your true values, but are needed for survival. So I was running very much on survival, and that's what I see with a lot of, I work with founders, entrepreneurs, online coaches, and when we are leading from survival, something always gives. And so that's really the core of my journey, where I was very unconsciously and unacknowledged trauma, but I was essentially consumed with trauma that I wasn't aware of, and really leading a life that wasn't mine. All the things you mentioned, the people pleasing, the perfectionism, the really leading from overwhelm, having to kind of push myself into survival and, heart racing and to move through life. And then at one point, it came to really a standstill where I had to make a change. And it was, a lot of people say to me, it took a lot of courage. And I always say, because yes, I made a very good living, in investment banking. But ultimately, what would have been harder was to actually stay, because something just gives. You can call it burnout, you can call it whatever. I mean, I don't believe in just one burnout. It's just multiple burnouts. People just kind of like, you're running on empty. You maybe pause for a little bit, you nurture yourself in some way, and then you're right back, and then you go back to the same motions, and then burn out again and again and again. And so it really led me to making some decisions to leave, and really pursuing my life's mission. And when I did my own, for lack of a better word, I hate the word healing. When I started really truly healing, I was able to then move into the space that really is my life's work and what I'm here to do and my purpose. And and that's what drives me every single day, and working with my clients. So that's a little summary.
Thank you. And thank you for sharing. Honestly, and it is, I feel a lot of people find themselves in that situation as well. As you say, they've got a great career, everything, the outside looks amazing, but it's just kind of not their purpose. It's not what they're meant to do, but you do just end up running towards the hills, and eventually burnout may be the one, or it's just your cup isn't full and you're just giving to everybody else. It's just a people pleasing, imposter syndrome, all those stuff do just leak in. And I feel like corporate at the moment is a little bit of a toxic place, without me kind of stepping too much of the mark, because it is just a lot of work for people, and you just feel like is this really it? Like, why are we working so hard? I love that you kind of, as you say, went through your own journey and now helping people do the same thing and just really living in your zone of brilliance and your purpose in life. It's really great to hear. So let's dive into the business a little bit more, Nicole, so the listeners can have some context moving forward. So, like at this point, who would you say is your ideal client? Like, who do you very, very much love to work with the most? And then from there, how is it you help them and how do you support them along that journey?
Yeah, I'm here to work with, I have female clients, but mostly women. I'm here to work with women entrepreneurs who are here to, and I'm going to use these words because they're really important for me. They're here to rewrite the legacy that was written for them, and to and are here to live, and I you mentioned the word sustainable when you introduced me, and I loved that because that is really the core of what I'm here to do. Because we're not here just for like a quick buck. We're not here just to make some money and then to crash. And I see this every single day: seven-figure businesses crashing to the ground because they're simply not sustainable. I'm here to help walk alongside women to create legacies across generations, and
Mhm.
that ripples, yes, into business, into the money they make. But wealth for me, it encompasses, far greater than that. It really encompasses the ease within your own body and within your own nervous system that then ripples into. It doesn't stop there. It ripples into every person you meet, into if you have children, into your children, and into the next generations, into every relationship, into everything. So
Yeah.
that is really who I work with, who are here to build legacies beyond this moment, and want something that's sustainable, um, and want to be free. Ultimately, it's all about freedom.
Yeah, and I love that. And it is all about freedom. And I feel like even success, everyone defines success differently. So if you have your own goals, your own definition of that, why should your freedom not be aimed towards that? And as you say, sustainable is just, I feel like a key word for everything at the moment because there's so much influence from maybe social media, comparison to other people. I don't know what it may be, but whether it's fitness, business, as you say, just actually looking after yourself and making sure your cup is full for a long time is something that's really speaking about a lot because it's all about instant gratification at the moment, instant success, comparing yourself to somebody else that's got a completely different journey to yourself, and it just, as you say, those feelings just keep mounting and will spill over into everyone else's life as well, not just your own.
Yeah, and it comes down to, it's so interesting how as a society we need to, what this industry is doing, and comes back to the work that I do, is that we need to redefine success, because that goes back to what have we learned that success is, and that comes back to what we learned was safe, right?
Hmm.
The success that was safe was doing well academically, was having this title in this
Yeah.
field. That is what kept things safe with within our, and I'm going to bring this word in because it's really important, within our attachment to our caregivers, to our parent figures, because that is what kept us safe.
Hmm.
That is what allowed that attachment to be there, because anything like maybe stepping out of the mark, right? Being who you are, being quote unquote emotional, being sensitive, being too much, too little, having a loud voice, a quiet voice. It was never enough. So we had to fit ourselves in this little box that society and our caregivers, because they're really one and the same, how we're parented is what a reflection of society and our culture. And, what that was, yeah, what that that said was safe for us to maintain that
Yeah.
attachment with.
Yeah, it is the comfort behind that as well, as you say. It's like the classic case of nurture versus what is it? Nurture versus nature. As you say, it's like everything influences it around you. But obviously with such inner work and such powerful work as well that you do with your clients, like I'm interested to see how you go about acquiring your customers. So like what channels and methods you really find it most effective in being heard and obviously finding that right person to work with as well.
Yeah, of course. So social media. I mean, I used to have a very mixed, if you want to call it, relationship with social media, and a lot of people feel that way. But
Yeah.
for me, it's all about, it's all about selling with integrity, and integrity means sharing for all of you. And this comes back to the work, and really visibility. What that comes down to is or the lack of visibility that I see a lot of people struggling with is this fear of rejection, fear of judgment, or all of this. So social media is an incredible platform if you know how to use it in a way that's authentic, in a way that is efficient and effective. Um, and yeah, so through social media, I have a variety of offers. I work with lead magnets such as master classes or
Yeah.
three-day events. I yeah, obviously I stay in contact with with potential clients or clients through an email list, or growing an email list. So those are my primary ways of marketing and selling.
No, so you have a few avenues coming in, and as you say, it's all about being authentic. And social media is that like tricky platform. Like, if you're not comfortable putting yourself out there, you will find it very hard to attract those kind of people, like people you want to work with, because you have to be truthful, you have to be yourself, and ultimately you have to have like some form of trust built with a stranger. So it is just being as like what's the word I'm looking for? As knowledgeable on the front end as you can be. Do you run any form of like ad campaigns or anything, or is it just, as you say, putting out content and being very consistent on your end?
At this moment, it's all organic marketing. Not saying that won't change in the future, but at the moment, it's all organic. Yes.
Nice. And are you a solopreneur still at the moment, Nicole, kind of like fighting all the fires and putting out all the
I am. I do
yeah,
work with a VA,
awesome.
VA. I work with, I run retreats where I do hire on, an assistant and, and various, for various services. But mainly, yeah, I'm a solopreneur. Yeah.
And how do you find that? Do you kind of like the aspects, obviously coming from a big team working in corporate to being pretty much on your own? Is that something that you enjoy now that you have that experience?
I do enjoy it, absolutely. It is going to change as my business is growing, and
Yeah.
we'll talk about that as my business is growing and my impact is growing. It is going to change when I look at my what my vision really has always been, to create the impact that I want to create. It is going to change, but up until this point, I think again, it comes back to the work that I do. Where yes, we're doing a lot of things, as solopreneurs, and it comes down to our nervous system capacity to be able to hold all of these things. And what I see happening and why either people are unsuccessful in really growing a really highly profitable business, or are successful, but then, as we said, something gives and everything comes down, is that they don't have the capacity to really to take on everything that comes, with growing a business, at least not in a sustainable way. I always one more thing to add when I talk about capacity, because people talk all about, yes, they talk about burnout or they talk about overwhelm. And along with that, most people will talk about it's the amount of things that you're doing, right?
Yeah.
But really, it isn't. It's about how much capacity you have to take on what life gives you, what business throws at you, and with everything that everyone is holding. Again, going back to what we were talking about being survival, and this comes back. It comes back to our anatomy in the way in our brain and in our nervous system. Everything that we are carrying is taking up that capacity. So if you add one more thing, it's just going to go into overflow, right?
Yeah.
Really, what we do through my work is we free up that capacity, and it's not fluff. It's not, I want to say this, like this is science, and I have a scientific background, so this is brain and physiology, brain science and
100%.
physiology. So we free up that capacity so that you can hold all these different things. I've
Yeah.
had when I talk about that, yes, being a solopreneur and everything in business, being able to hold more clients, more impact, more visibility. And then together with that, being able to hold, being a mother to two children, right now I have both of my parents have very big health challenges, and it's being able to navigate through that and
Yeah.
and be able to thrive, because they can coexist. What tends to happen is something gives, something awful happens, and then they have to shut down the business, or they have to take a huge pause from the business because we don't have the capacity for it. But capacity is the key here, and that's the gold dust for a hugely
Yeah.
successful and sustainable business and life, really. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I was actually listening to another podcast the other day, and so used a great analogy for that. It's like if you fill a bathtub half full of water, and you get in it, obviously the water levels will rise. That's kind of the capacity. But if you just keep adding weight on top, the bath will overfill. And that's exactly the same thing as saying you can still have the same amount of capacity, but we're just going to lift little loads in other places, so you can just, as you say, thrive and be sustainable thriving for a long period of time, which
Yeah.
is definitely the key to that. And I'm intrigued to find out your plans for the future as well. Obviously, we're at the start of the new year. So like, what does 2026 like have in store for you? What do the next 6 to 12 months look like? What is that vision?
Yeah, well, I recently, in the last year, I founded my trauma informed nervous system coaching academy. So when I talked about, bigger impact, I'm one person, and I need that to ripple because what I've created, and it's really come from a lot of what I've seen incomplete, harmful, missing in the industry, and this is really filling the gap for true. For creating really true, again, for lack of a better word, transformation to help clients really resolve root level patterns, really expand their capacity, like free up and expand their capacity for success, and really lead from a place of safety and regulation and freedom. And it's so much gold. I'm just one person, and so in order to have that ripple, that's essentially the intention for founding my coaching academy. I've had a cohort run through it. I mean, it's just been a phenomenal. I mean, they have come out as some of them as brand new coaches. If you even witness them coaching, I was witnessing them coaching, it is as if they have 10, 20 years experience. I mean, yeah, it's these are results that the industry hasn't yet seen. So I'm so excited about it. So 2026 is going to be, again, I have another sold out cohort for 2026. So that's coming up. Um, my, and with that, I will be in the next, I think I know you mentioned 6 to 12 months, but I'm going to go beyond.
Go
In
for
the
it.
next 2 to 3 years, this is where I'm going to be hiring on to my team. Really the people that I've intensively trained, so that
Hmm.
the impact can go wider, and really create a change. But for 2026, to your question, is a book is coming up in 2026. So that is where it's really this is all about my life's work, which involves my life story and my lived experience. And I'll be weaving into that, of course, the work that I do in the methodology, so that it can create the ripples and move the mountains that I want it to move. So that's the book is a huge part of 2026
I
for
love that. And like even going back to the ripple you're talking about, as you say, how being a one woman show, it's hard to have such a big impact sometimes. But I love that you're doing the one to many approach. Obviously, with the academy helping other coaches really improve their services, improve themselves as well. That will only pass on to their clients and then further on. And then for yourself, the book must be a really exciting venture. Is it the first book you've ever kind of sat down and written?
Yeah, it will be my first book. Yeah, so
Love it.
yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm truly excited about it. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. It'd be amazing. And again, just the amount of people you can impact with that kind of messaging and that just someone sat down and reading your exact thoughts is just a really great thing. But where are you finding maybe the biggest challenge yourself at the moment, Nicole, in taking that next step in the business?
Well, I would always say, and again, this comes back to the work that I do, is that, they all say new level, new devil. And so this involves the work when I talked about, kind of expanding your capacity is at really at every level. And this came in for me in 2025. There was a huge amount, again, like a huge amount of shedding and expanding my capacity to be able to really hold that vision, and hold that impact. And with that comes exactly the work that I do with wealth expansion. It comes with a lot of grief. It comes with a
Yeah.
lot of working with really deep rooted patterns at the root system. And yeah, I experienced that in 2025. But I mean, I guess you could call it like a challenge and a win and a beautiful thing, because it's,
Yeah.
yes, it can be uncomfortable, it can be painful, but it's, if done also correctly and held in the way in the way that I train coaches to hold clients through these expansions, it's really, it's infinite. Really, the possibilities are infinite in terms of what you can create. So yeah, so I'm sure and certain that 2026 is going to bring that new, again, that new level, new devil, in the same
Yeah.
way with this book. Because with the book, as with everything else in my life, I don't play anything safe. So because I've created that safety within me. So when you
Yeah.
create safety within you, you can go out and do the uncomfortable thing and do the things that are not safe, and not have to push and force yourself into that survival in order to move through them and navigate through them. So I'm sure 2026 is going to hold that. But yeah, I think that would be the answer to the question. I think that's the biggest thing I see with entrepreneurs. Most people have the strategy. Most people have all of that. That's what we go to. It's the first thing that we go to, isn't it? It's like that shiny object, and we need that. You need that for a really robust business. But it's this work. It's this work that then opens it all up and helps it come into fruition.
100%. And Nicole, thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing your incredible journey and insight with us. Where can our listeners reach out best to work with you or connect with you if they would like to do so?
Yeah, of course. So reach me on Instagram. Nicole Rose Coaching is my handle. Nicole Rose Coaching. I think Instagram is probably the best one. I'm also on LinkedIn. You can look for Nicole Gomez on LinkedIn. But yeah, I'm on most platforms, and I'm on Facebook as well. But Nicole Rose Coaching on Instagram is probably the best place. Yeah.
Perfect. So to our listeners, please go and check out Nicole at Nicole Rose Coaching. Drop her a message. I'm sure she'll be very excited to entertain you. And also do not forget to subscribe to Founders Future via wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you are a business owner, specifically a coach, consultant, or agency owner, and you're really looking to scale your business and you want to enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to hop on a call with one of our team and discover how we went from $0 to $30 million per year in less than 3 years. But until then, keep on climbing, and we will see you on the next one.